All right, today we're going to break down one of the most wonderfully bizarre pieces of internet lore you'll ever see. It's all about a family recipe that goes, well, either horribly wrong or maybe, just maybe, perfectly right. Let's get into this little masterpiece of surreal horror comedy.
So, our story kicks off with this line right here. I'm going to have such a good day today. It's pure, uncut optimism. And, it's the perfect calm before the storm. It's classic dramatic irony that basically just sets us all up for the absolute chaos that is about to unfold.
Okay, so let's get into the first part, the setup. This is where the trap is laid, not just for our main character, but for us too. The whole scene is designed to pull you in with this vibe that's kind of wholesome, but also a little weird. So picture this, a totally normal kitchen. Our hero is just having the best day ever. But then you see it. On the stove, there's this pot, and it's glowing with this weird, otherworldly purple light. And right there, with that one single image, you just know that the normal rules are about to go right out the window. And just in case a glowing purple pot wasn't enough of a clue, we get this text on the screen, Mummy's secret recipe. And this is just genius, right? Because it takes this weird glowing goo and slaps a comforting familiar label on it. But that word secret just kind of hangs there, packed with some seriously ominous vibes.
All right, and this brings us to the crucial moment, the catalyst. This is the action that kicks everything off, the decision from which there is absolutely no turning back. It's the moment he actually eats the stuff.
So he takes this huge spoonful, and this is his reaction. And let's just stop on that for a second. Skin berries. What even are skin berries? It's so specific, but also so deeply unsettling. It's not just good, it's good in a way that suggests something is profoundly, organically wrong.
And wow, do things start happening fast. The video tells us 1 minute later, but if you look at the actual time, only 2 seconds have passed. This totally bonkers time jump basically tells you that this recipe doesn't care about normal physics or biology. The results are pretty much instantaneous. Okay, so from here on out, we are in the escalation phase. The recipe's in his system, and our poor guy's body and mind just start to completely fall apart. This is where we get a full-on dive into body horror. But it's played for comedy, which is what makes this whole thing so great. The symptoms just start piling on, one after the other. First, he's sweating this bright green stuff. Then his eyes start vibrating like crazy. And finally, his whole face starts glitching, like a broken GIF, repeating the same expressions over and over. His body is definitely not his anymore. And it's not just physical. Nope. His ability to speak just disintegrates. He starts babbling in what sounds like a bunch of different languages, all of them distorted and looping. It's this chaotic jumble of sounds that perfectly matches the visual glitches. It's like a total system crash. At this point, you'd think it couldn't get any worse. You'd be wrong. Because now the recipe stops messing with his body and starts messing with, the laws of physics. And you can just feel the pure panic in this line. Gravity just quits on him. He starts to float, and his words perfectly capture that terrified, disbelieving moment where he's not just floating off the ground, he's floating away from reality itself. I gotta say, I love breaking it down like this because it puts this formal structure on something that is pure chaos. So he just starts floating up. Then he starts windmilling his arms like a helicopter, trying to get any kind of control. He flies around the kitchen like a pinball before finally making a very unscheduled exit right through the ceiling. Just a complete disaster. So, right as our guy is blasting through the ceiling, the story hits us with its final and honestly most chilling twist. The punchline arrives, and it's Mom. Mom walks in, right? She sees the mess, the pot is still glowing, there's a giant hole in her ceiling, and her face is just this huge, over-the-top expression of shock, which, seems like the right reaction, a normal response to a completely insane situation. But then she looks from the pot to us, and that shocked expression, it just melts away. It's replaced by this slow, kind of creepy smile, and she just says this one word. Nice. And that's the whole twist. This wasn't a mistake. This was the plan all along.
So this whole mind-bending ending comes down to these two totally different points of view. For him, it was a nightmare. Body horror, glitches, physics breaking, just pure existential terror. But for Mom, it was a test run. And it was a successful one. The recipe worked exactly as she intended. What he saw as a glitch, she saw as a feature.
And that leaves us with this final haunting question. So, what is Mummy's secret recipe? Is it just some food that went horribly wrong, or is it a recipe for something else? Like, I don't know, human flight? Some kind of weird transformation? Something else entirely? That smile says it all, right? This was just step one.